Marcus Conte reporting. Good morning. Good morning. Who's going to win the presidential election between Joe Biden and the President of the United States, Donald Trump? Who do you think is going to win? Who's going to win? Good morning, everybody. A little nature walk today. A little walk through nature. Check my back to make sure nobody's following me. It's not that I'm paranoid. I'm just aware. I'm aware of my surroundings here early in the morning, here in Brooklyn, New York. And a lot of little things going on in the news, but I think the big one, I think it's time to talk about it, is the blistering fact that Joe Biden, the dead guy, the senile guy, in my view, has, like a snowball's chance in hell of beating Trump. Why? Because to win, you have to say some good stuff. You have to say something that rallies the people. Historically, are we in a time where it doesn't matter anymore? A guy could just step up and say, I'm not Trump and I could win? Or, I don't really represent anything. I'm with the rioters. Yeah, whatever they're for, that's what I'm for. Does he have anything of value to say and motivate people to vote for him? In my view, he has not. Now, despite the fake polls, which we know they're fake, we know the elections are fake, we know the polls are fake, how on earth does Joe Biden win? How is it even possible that you could say, not fake polls, but in polling people by walking around talking to people? I just talked to a guy 5 minutes ago before I turned the camera on and asked him, I said, who do you think's going to win? And he said, I don't want to get into politics. I didn't say get into politics. I just said, who do you think's going to win? And he said, well, of course, Trump. Because that's where the populace is at. And I'm going to give you the evidence, right? So Trump right now is on a 3-day tear in Reno, Nevada, right? 3-day campaign, and he vows to keep the radical left at bay. Is that a winning strategy? Is that a winning strategy for the Donald to say that we, us, Americans, will keep the radical left at bay? What does that mean, the radical left? What is the radical left? Is it the Bernie Sanders people who wanted income and wealth inequality to be more of that, more income and wealth equality, not inequality in this country, to give everybody health care, to give everybody a living wage? Huh? Is that who he's talking about, the radical left? No, he's talking about the fucking animals that are out in the street breaking everything and calling anybody who's not on their side racist, burning shit. Right? Is that what I'm trying to say, is that a good strategy for Trump to win? Of course it is. Because people are watching the TVs and they're seeing this disconnect from reality. Everybody suddenly I'm a racist? What the fuck are you talking about? I'm a racist. I've been on your side the whole time. And now I'm a racist? Right? A lot of that shit doesn't make sense. Is what I'm trying to say. And it just doesn't make sense. I'll show you where I am, by the way. I'm here in my park. Oops. I wanted to go that way. So, good morning, everybody. Marcus Conte reporting on the state of the election, the state of our country, the state of our being, the fate, the great fate of the American idea, the American idea is suddenly on the line. Who will win? Who will win the election? So again, Trump on a 3-day tear in Nevada. He says he vowed to keep the radical left at bay. Is that a winning strategy? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. On November 3rd, Nevada, this is what he said. Trump, quote, "On November 3rd, Nevada will decide whether we will quickly return to record prosperity like we had." Ooh. Record prosperity like we had. I don't know, Trump. Right before that, I don't know if that's a good strategy. I mean, it is a good strategy because most people think that there was prosperity. There was more prosperity then than there is now. That's true. But did Trump come into office and increase that prosperity? Well, that's arguable. I don't think so. Currently, 50% of all Americans, when polled, if we believe the polls, 50% of all Americans are, quote, have serious financial issues. Half the country says they have serious financial issues. Is that true? I think it is. Half the country says they have serious financial issues. 70%, this is still an ongoing statistic from way back when, 70% don't have $500 to their name in case of an emergency. Now that's fucked up, right? So maybe 30 or 40% of the country's doing well. They got some money in the bank, they own some stuff, they're not behind in their bills. But for that other 70% of the country, if they get an emergency, they are fucked. 50% of the country says they're in serious financial trouble, where 70% of the country doesn't have $500 for an emergency. And the unemployment rate is hovering around, real unemployment is hovering in the 25 percentile. 1 in 4 Americans are unemployed. 1 in 4 employable Americans are unemployed. Not overall Americans, because you can't count kids, and you can't count people in jail. You can't count people that are elderly, right, that are not working, potential working. So, and you have these massive retail shutdowns. What I'm trying to say is Trump's statement, "We will quickly return to record prosperity like we had." Like we had when? When you were in office, or back in the Stone Age, when my grandparents, one was a shoemaker, a slave in a shoe factory, and the other guy, my grandfather, was a caterer. And they bought a house in Brooklyn. They owned the house. Oh, this is funny. There's these radical yoga people. You want to see some radical yoga? Let's see if we can get a picture of them. Radical yoga in the park. It's the new thing. Ha ho. Yeah, this is the new gymnasium, because all the gyms are closed, so people are out in the park dancing their ass off. I don't know, for me, music and exercise don't mix. I think you missed something. You're listening to the music and not your body. But anyway, that's the new phenomenon. Because the gyms are people too. They have to make a living. Right? So that's one thing Trump said. Let's look at more of what Trump said and why he's going to beat Biden. The point is, do people believe that we can return to some sort of prosperity prior to the COVID-19 mess? Yeah, they do believe it. It's a win. Well, the point is, it's a winning strategy. And what are you comparing it to? Joe Biden sitting in his fucking basement, coming out with a diaper on his face with the black woman candidate because she's black and she's a woman, and Trump is a fucking monster with no evidence? Look, it's like another friend just said, a couple of things that people said come to mind. One guy said, Trump is tough. I was talking to somebody. He said, Trump is tough. And I said, yeah, it's like what the Brits, it's like what they say, the British say. They say, or they used to say when they were, I don't know if they still say it. You could correct me if I'm wrong. But the British used to say that even a bad king is better than no king. Trump is the king, right? He rules like a king. He rules like a strong man. And people like that. Another couple said, this is interesting feedback from a couple. This couple's from Taiwan. And they said, I said, well, who do you think's going to win, Biden or Trump? And they said, and they're both American citizens. They said, well, don't you think Trump is going to, and they both had masks on. And they said, don't you think Trump is going to lose because he didn't handle the coronavirus thing properly, and he's telling people there's nothing to worry about? Don't you think that's bad for him? And I said, are you fucking kidding me? No. That's precisely what people want to hear and need to hear, because Trump is putting his finger on the scam. See, everything the dirty Democrats throw at Trump to try to scare the populace away from him only reinforces Trump's positions and Trump's popularity. Trump is rising. Democrats are falling. You follow? You dig? All you have to do is talk to people, and you'll realize that. All right? So Trump says, "You know where Biden is now?" Trump asks. "He's in his basement." It's true. How does the last time Biden came out of hiding? What did he there's a lot of people out today, so there's a lot of people in the park. You see how it once was peaceful and empty in my park, and when I used to walk through this park? That's why I don't come here as much anymore. Everything is changing in New York City. Everything is changing, right? And there's a lot more people out, a lot more people buzzing around. But so where has Biden been? Last time we saw him, he was a senile little fuck. He seemed like he was jacked up on something. People running by me like I'm not even. Maybe there's a race or something. I don't know what's going on here. A lot of people running. Let's watch the runners. People running. Exercise, health. Running the stairs. Good stuff, man, right? That's new. That is something new. Are we entering a health craze? Is Conti right? Did Conti predict this? That the healthy would become more healthy? That there would be two sides of the health spectrum where more people became... The healthy people want to be more healthy, and the sick people get sicker because they're sick. And they're getting sicker in their home. And they're afraid to come out. Was I right about that? I think I was. Right? Everybody who was sort of healthy got extremely better healthy. And the sick people are just going to sit in their fucking house and die. Right? They're going to die. Right. So what else has Trump said? Trump continues to push his warning that Democrats were promoting mail-in voting during the pandemic in order to rig and steal the election. That's what Trump said from the podium in Nevada. That they're promoting mail-in ballots during the pandemic in order to rig and steal the election. He doesn't give specifics, but we know the specifics. The exit polls didn't match. You know how the Democrats cheat. It's so well documented, they admit it. They admitted it in open court that they cheat. So, again, is that a winning strategy to tell the populace that the Democrats cheat? Yeah, of course it is. That's a winning strategy. As compared to Biden saying that, how dare Trump say our elections there's no integrity, that there's cheating without any evidence. No, we have the evidence, jerk off. Roll the tape back. Hillary Clinton versus Bernie Sanders first time. Bernie Sanders the second time. Millions of ballots thrown in the garbage during the primaries. Oh, but that doesn't count. That's a primary. I'm here at my favorite tree, by the way. My favorite tree. Hello, tree. Tree of wisdom, tree of knowledge. Tree of strength. Reaching for the sky in all your beauty and magnificence. Thank you, tree of wisdom, with your deeply rooted understanding of the world and your perfect balance throughout your life. Your solidness. Thank you, tree. Got to worship the tree. Worship the tree. So what else has Trump said? They're trying to rig an election and we can't let that happen. True or false? Totally fucking true. Totally true. Winning strategy? Yes. Yes. Winning strategy by Trump? Yes. Right? This is Trump again. They sent millions of ballots. People dead and they're getting ballots. There's two things. Did they send millions of ballots? Probably. People died and they're getting ballots. Not a million, but probably some, yeah. And then people just fill those out and send them in. But that's not where the cheating is. I keep saying it. I've been saying it for 3 years. 3 years now that that's not how the cheating happens. It's the Democrats, the people who count the votes. The people who go in those little rooms and count the votes. And then rig the numbers. That's how the cheating happens. It's an inside cheating. It's not voter fraud where voters are creating the fraud or perpetrating a fraud. It's election fraud. That's when the establishment cheats. President Trump. Stop blaming the people. The people are not doing it. Stop vilifying the dirty Democratic voters. Why don't you win them over? By telling them the truth that the establishment, both Democrats and Republicans, cheat like motherfuckers. Alright? Gerrymandering and, voter suppression and stuffing ballots and just out and out rigging machines that flip votes. We know about all this stuff. So, probably, quote, probably everybody but Republicans are going to get ballots. Now, are paper ballots a good idea? Is it a good idea to do paper ballots so everybody gets a paper ballot, fills it out, and their vote is counted? Yeah, it is a good idea. But you can't guarantee that those votes are going to be counted. In this current state of oligarchs where the Republicans and the Democrats simply don't agree and don't trust each other. Can you get a fair election through paper? Only if you count the votes in public. But that's a no-no because of the pandemic. So paper ballots don't make it any safer or any more real. Right? In fact, they make it less real because there's no exit polling at all. You have no idea who sent what, where, how many. You don't know. Nobody knows. You just have to take their word for it. Democrats are gonna wake up on November 4 and say, "Yeah, Joe Biden won. Yeah, we counted it. Joe Biden won." And the Republicans are gonna say, "Oh yeah, Trump won." Right? That's where we live. We live in a banana republic where nobody trusts anybody. But on the merits, that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about what do people perceive as proper campaigning, effective campaigning. Is Trump effectively campaigning? So far, brilliant. Right? Playing right into the hand of people. People who are scared for their livelihoods and their children's lives and their own lives and their pockets. Trump is playing right into that, whereas Biden is just playing into scary, aligning with Antifa, rioters, killers. They're Americans, protesters, people wearing masks, Those are patriots. Is it a winning strategy? I don't know. I do know. I don't think it is. So what else? The rally was in. This is funny too. So the rally Trump did. He's in Nevada, Reno, Nevada, or by Reno, Nevada, and he says the press says the rally was in violation of Nevada's order banning gatherings larger than 50 people. Right? And it's a Democrat governor in Nevada. What's his name? Steve Sisolak. Steve Sisolak said. Trump said that Steve Sisolak, the governor of Nevada, says he allows radical protests while keeping residents out of churches. Is that a good strategy? It's true. You could protest in the street and break shit and burn shit, but once you're on the right side of history and you want to go to church, that's illegal. 50 people, my ass. See, Biden loves that shit. Biden can't put 50 people. That's about the number right there. Biden might be able to put 50 people, and the other 50 are paid for. Remember with Hillary Clinton? She had people on the books they were on the clock. On the clock, union workers in Nevada campaigning for her, going there, filling up the room with fake bodies. That's Joe Biden, same thing. It's a rerun. Hillary Clinton couldn't get 100 people in a room. Joe Biden can't get 100 people in a room, so play into that. The pandemic works to their advantage. They cheat. They cheated Bernie Sanders. You remember they had the fake impeachment trial, keeping Bernie Sanders off of the campaign trail for 3 weeks while Joe Biden sat on his ass? Or Joe Biden was campaigning and Bernie Sanders was forced to. He wasn't forced. The Democrats speak and Bernie Sanders jumps. That's what it was. He doesn't have the balls to believe in the people, that the people will lift him up and lift him to victory. Bernie Sanders sided with the dirty Democrats and lost 3 weeks on the campaign trail when he should have been out there saying the Democrats are cheaters, losers, the fucking con artists, in bed with the money. Just like Trump is, in bed with the money. Bernie Sanders didn't do that. But anyway, so should Trump be held legally liable for a gathering of more than 50 people? Let's see them try to enforce that one. That'd be funny, right? Shut down the president of the United States, the most powerful executive in the country. His rally gets shut down because there's too many people. You believe that shit? That would be something else, man. How's my hair look? Looks good, right? Thank you. So, what else? So, quote, Trump. They want to punish you for praying in church while they let agitators and arsonists burn your church down. Good strategy for Trump? Fuck yeah, that resonates. Is it true? Yeah. You might have also added murderers and thieves, looters, arsonists, yeah, criminals. And the dirty Democrats are aligning with this, saying, "Oh, that's peaceful protest." Oh no. Kyle Rittenhouse is a terrorist for defending himself against terrorists trying to kill him on the open streets of Kenosha, Wisconsin. That's the mentality of the Democrats. And the dirty, the clear and convincing alliance with the fake media that supports that. CNN, MSNBC. All right. So is Trump on the right side of that argument? It's starting to rain, so I'm going to have to wrap it up. Trump demanded the local governments open their economies at the rally. Good for him. This is what he says. If Biden gets in, we'll have the greatest depression in history. Truth to that? Yeah, because Biden is a tool. Biden will relinquish all power to the corporations. Not some, but all. Because he's dead. He's sleeping. He's senile. Documented. Senile. Give everything away. He'll give away the farm to the oligarchs. At the rally, chants of "lock her up" could be heard when Hillary Clinton's name was mentioned. So he's doing reruns, right? He's doing the oldies but goodies. I wonder if he did build a wall. Build a wall. Lock her up. He says, Trump, if Biden wins, the rioters and anarchists win. Is that a good strategy for Trump? Yeah. Is it true? Yeah. The Democrats are Biden is aligning himself with the radical left. How many times during the convention did they say, and Black Lives Matter? How many times? You can't even count them. You can't even count how many times they said Black Lives Matter. Not because Black Lives Matter, because there's millions of young people who say Black Lives Matter, and they want their vote, or they want to build what Noam Chomsky always says. I had a little mental freeze there for a second. Manufacturing consent. They want to manufacture the consent so that when they steal it, they could turn around and say, yeah, because the blacks voted for us, because Black Lives Matter. You know, something to that degree, right? So what else did he say? Arsonists, flag burners, they will all win if Biden wins. Good strategy? Yeah. What does Biden have to combat that? Say, yeah, we're with the arsonists and the looters that smashed every window in Lower Manhattan. We're with them. The right to protest, right? Peaceful protest. My ass. I was at the rallies. We all saw the video. How many times we got to see it? How many times we got to realize that the young people, the 100 or so, they just shut down the George Washington Bridge over here for 20 minutes. Last night in New York, the 100 jerk-offs, 100 jerk-off kids with bicycles and skateboards blocked the George Washington Bridge that leads to New Jersey, shutting down traffic for 20 minutes until they were steamrolled off by NYPD. It's just 100 people. It's not tens of thousands like we saw. Shut them down. Shut them down. It's a different crowd. Right? Trump says, I'm running for re-election to bring prosperity to the whole country. Is that a winning strategy? Yeah, it flies in opposition of what the Democrats are saying, which is Trump is against, it flies in opposition of what the Democrats say, because the Democrats say we're not with half the country. Half the country, in our opinion, are racists, right? And if you're with that half of the country, then you're a racist too, right? Trump is saying bring prosperity to all people in the country. So that's all I wanted to say today about the election. It's 5 weeks away, you know. November 4 is the day after Election Day. Will Trump's prediction be correct about that the day after the election the masks will come off and the pandemic will have ended, as he predicted? I think it's a great prediction. I'll make another prediction and I'll let you go. I predict that, I was talking again, I talk to people all the time. I don't do it on camera lately, but I'll start doing that again. As retail shuts down, right? In Brooklyn, New York, a store called Century 21 is shutting down. And it's going to leave giant openings for stores. So my prediction for retail, right? When you go into a store, there's about maybe 10% of the things in the world that you can buy at that store, right? Or maybe less, far less, maybe 2%, right? But what if you went into a giant virtual store, big store, with virtual mechanicals all over the place, that everything in the world, everything, or anything made, can be bought in this one store and delivered to your home. Right? In the perfect size, the perfect color, everything that you're looking for in an item. Rather than have to try shit on, you can have a virtual fitting room. You go in and it measures you, and then it gives you all your selections. Now, why is that impossible? Why is that ridiculous? Because that would be the new retail. Not a retail store that has to have 500 pairs of that sneaker in-house. Right? Use the space to create virtual shopping. You walk in, there could be a fitting booth, virtual fitting booth that measures you, doesn't even touch you, and it knows your sizes, and it gives you your options on other virtual machines, right? So we walk in, and then you walk out of that store with no packages. Everything's going to be delivered, because that's where we're going, decentralized deliver, right? The new state of retail will be semi-virtual, computerized, robotized, mechanicalized, and delivered to your home. Right? It makes sense, right? As opposed to the current situation where you order something online and it doesn't fit and you hate it, and you either A, don't wear it, or B, try to send it back. And usually it's too expensive to do that. So in that world, or it could be you come back in 2 days and it's delivered at that location, and then you can try it on and say, oh, I love this, or you can deny. See, that's another part of the prediction, where you could have in-house returns, where people come back to that location rather than sending it to their house. Send it to the location, you try it on a day or two later. I know there's people want it now, they want it now, but for the most part, you'll have to have it in a day or two, or in a week, right? So virtual retail, right, is probably the prediction. So thank you all for joining me. Become a Patreon of this channel, please. Please don't do it for me. Do it for yourself. Do it because you love the world that we live in, and you love your country, and you love a free and fair press, a press that is on your side and is amazing, right? Is working for you by going to marcusconti.com, Patreon, become a Patreon of the channel, or you drop a one-time contribution through PayPal. And thank you all for the people that have already done that, because you're making new media possible. I ain't going away. I'm still here, whether I'm physically here in New York or I'm physically there somewhere else. I ain't going away, man. I'm in for the long haul. I'm in for the long haul. Right? As long as my hair is still growing, I'm still in. Marcus Conti reporting.